welcome. This is Barney Smith live in the Forbidden Library, and today it's reading day. Welcome everyone. Hello Namaste Phantom. Hello Native Gamer. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As per usual on a Sunday, we have some stuff to add to the thing. I've done some reading. Yay! Happy Mother's Day. Is it Mother's Day? Is this American Mother's Day? We have a different Mother's Day here. It is not today. We already had Mother's Day here. It's done. Don't scare me like that. I think we have Father's Day coming up though. I need to keep that in mind. You did not miss the lo-fi. I'm glad you did not miss the lo-fi. The lo-fi is good. It is chill. It is wonderful. Updates. Let's do the comic books first. I've read 2 comic book issues. 256. No, that's 456. 256, if I could type. Did you see on Epic, there's a game, there's like a touch type game. I kind of want to play it. I'm terrible at typing, but maybe it will make me better at it. And then I won't do stuff like that as much anymore. But anyway, the seasons. Issue 4. Which is good. It's still good. It's the creepy clown, the creepy carnival is making moves. And I look forward to the next one the most. Let me see if I can find, yeah. Here we go, up. Let's just copy these guys down here, and then we're done. So that's a series. At 2025. The second one, another just continued one. I actually bought the final issue of this series today, so we'll be done. Playing the new game so far. Oh, Expedition 33. I've heard very good things. My fiance is playing it, and he's been telling me all about it. And I watched Jesse Cox play the opening of it. It looks really good. I have been absolutely stuck in 100 Line Last Defense Academy. If you liked the Dangan games, just carry on. It's good. It's from the same team that made those. It's really good. So 157. Everyone loves a good creepy carnival, except maybe we contracted one. Yeah, but that's like, but we're not those persons. We're the reader, so we're fine. Paul Amint of Rooks, issue 4. This one is a comic. This one's a very pretty comic, black and white mostly, with splodgings of colour when needed. I've definitely got it in here somewhere. Here we go. Copy, paste. Wonderful. Series 2025. And now we've got some actual books I read. So 158. I read The Lost Hero. So hello Boris! I've got on to the next set of Percy Jackson universe books, the Heroes of Olympus now. So I started that as a novel by Mr. Rick Riordan. This is a series 2025. And I read a one-off, a standalone book, which I highly recommend. It was wholesome AF. So for my 159th book, it's gonna be The Cat Who Saved Books. It's about a cat. Well, no, it's not about a cat. It's about a boy who lost his grandpa and inherited a bookshop. And then a magical cat appears, a magical talking tabby cat appears and goes, I need your help saving books. And they go on a magical adventure to save books. Cat in a hat? No hats involved. Just a cute little tabby cat. Who might be a bit snarky, to be honest. It's a snarky cat, but it's a good cat. It's a novel, and it was by Sosuke Natsukawa. Standalone. It was like reading a Disney movie kind of levels of wholesome, or maybe more of a Pixar because it was a bit more feelsy, but it was very lovely. I highly recommend if you want to read something that's just nice and friendly and wholesome. So that brings us down to 9,741 to go. Not bad at all. 2 novels this week. I was most of the way through Lost Hero by the end of last week. I nearly finished it. So I finished that pretty early in the week. And then the Cat Who Saved Books wasn't that long. And I had loads of time at work. So it was good. We got through some things. Disney movies, so like Dragon Slayer or Watcher in the Woods. Like the more wholesome ones, I guess. Wholesome baby ones, but yeah, I highly recommend that book if you're looking for something chill and cute and heartwarming. You just want some soft in your life, because sometimes you need some soft in your life. It's not all about the amazing adventures and the high stakes. Sometimes it's about an introverted boy learning to get over some grief while telling people that books are great. Could maybe get a tad preachy in that book, but that would be my only complaint. For now, we have 20% of this book left, which I don't think is that much. I don't know if I'm ever going to find out who Aswang is. People have mentioned Aswang to me, but I don't know if he's even going to be in this book. Like, we literally... 3, 4... We have a few stories left. Good for you. But yeah, I thought there's a lot of gump at the end. So it only goes up to about 93%-ish. You know this one? Or do you have like a version of this one as an Italian? That's interesting. Story of Benito. Let's see where Benito is going. Benito was an only son who lived with his father and mother in a little village. They were very poor, and as the boy grew older and saw how hard his parents struggled for their scanty living, he often dreamed of a time when he might be able to help them. Aswang is Filipino vampire werewolf type of monster that sucks the features out of pregnant women. Ah, well, we haven't seen any of those yet, so... One evening, when they sat eating their frugal meal of rice, the father told about a young king who lived in a beautiful palace some distance from their village, and the boy became very much interested. That night, when the house was dark and quiet, Benito lay on his mat, trying to sleep. Thoughts of the young king repeatedly came to his mind, and he wished he were a king, that he and his parents might spend the rest of their lives in a beautiful palace. The next day he awoke with a new idea. He would go to the king and ask for work, that he might, in that way, be able to help his father and mother. That Benito. Oh, that makes sense. Hopefully it's not like that. He was a long time in persuading his parents to allow him to go. However, for it was a long journey, and they feared that the king might not be gracious. But at last they gave their consent, and the boy started out the journey. The journey proved tiresome. After he reached the palace, he was not at first permitted to see the king, but the boy, being very earnest, at last secured a place as a servant. It was a new and strange world to Benito, who had known only the life of a little village. The work was hard, but he was happy in thinking that now he could help his father and mother. One day the king sent for him and said, "I want you to bring to me a beautiful princess who lives in a land across the sea. Go at once, and if you fail me, you shall be punished severely." Oh no, that doesn't sound like an easy task. But look, a rice granary. The boy's heart sank within him, for he did not know what to do. But he answered as bravely as possible, "I will, my lord," and left the king's chamber. He at once set about preparing things for a long journey, for he was determined to try at least to fulfill the command. When all was ready, Benito started. He had not gone far before he came to a thick forest, where he saw a large bird bound tightly with strings. "Oh, my friend," pleaded the bird, "please free me from these bonds, and I will help you whenever you call on me." Benito quickly released the bird, and it flew away, calling back to him. Its name was Sparrowhawk. Benito continued his journey until he came to the sea. Unable to find a way of crossing, he stopped and gazed sadly over the waters, thinking of the king's threat if he failed. Suddenly he saw swimming towards him the king of the fishes, who asked, "Why are you so sad?" "I wish to cross the sea to find the beautiful princess," answered the boy. "It looks like we got some methods of transportation, and we have a store in a Christianized village. Interesting." "Well, get on my back," said the fish, "and I will carry you across." So Benito stepped on his back and was carried to the other shore. Soon he met a strange woman who inquired that it was he sought. She met a strange woman who inquired what it was he sought. There we go. King of the Fishes, Jason Momoa. Yeah, he rode Jason Momoa to the other side of the ocean. And when he had told her, she said, "The princess is kept in a castle guarded by giants. Take this magic sword, for it will instantly kill whatever it touches." Oh, damn! Suspicious woman giving out weaponry. This man should be a king! But she handed him the weapon. Benito was more than grateful for her kindness and went on full of hope. As he approached the castle, he could see that it was surrounded by many giants, and as soon as they saw him, they ran out to seize him. But they went unarmed, for they saw that he was a mere boy. As they approached, he touched those in front with his sword, and one by one they fell dead. Then the others ran away in panic, and left the castle unguarded. Benito entered, and when he had told the princess of his errand, she was only too glad to escape from her captivity, and she set out at once with him for the place of the king. Wait a minute. This is Shrek. This is the plot of Shrek. Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. Hello, Red Eye, we're reading Shrek. I do think this one says touch in Patrick's stop. Filipino Shrek, yes. Benito is Filipino Shrek. He just got sent to save a princess from a castle for a pipsqueak of a lord. So yes, this is Shrek. At the seashore, the king of fishes was waiting for them, and they had no difficulty in crossing the sea. And then, in journeying through the thick forest to the palace, they were received with great rejoicing. After a time, the king asked the princess to become his wife, and she replied, "I will, O king, if you will get the ring I lost in the sea as I was crossing it." The king immediately thought of Benito, and sending him, he commanded him to find the ring which had been lost on the journey, from the land of the giants. It seemed a hopeless task to the boy, but anxious to obey his master, he started out. At the seaside he stopped and gazed over the waters, until, to his great delight, he saw his friend, the king of fishes, swimming towards him. When he had been told of the boy's troubles, the fish said, "I will see if I can help you," and he summoned all his subjects to him. When they came, he found that one was missing, and he sent others in search for it. They found it under a stone so full that it could not swim. And the larger ones took it by the tail and dragged it to the king. Moral of the story, having big industry connections. Yes. Hello, Gaming Aussie! Welcome! I could see as an Aussie why you would struggle to catch my streams live. But welcome! Hello, Wallace Lovecraft. Welcome. "Why did you not come when you were called?" inquired the kingfish. "I have eaten so much I cannot swim," replied the poor fish. Then the kingfish suspected the truth, ordered it cut open, and inside they found the lost ring. Benito was overjoyed at this, and in expressing his great thanks, hastened with the precious ring to his master. You're actually in our time zone. Oh, I'm not in the States time zone. I'm in the UK time zone. Aussie's just your place of birth. Fair enough. I apologize for assuming on your gamer tag. Helen Hydrangea. Welcome. I wanted to call it Henley Dragon because I just didn't read it properly for a hot minute. But thank you for the follow. Is that the legendary sea people that cause the British class of Mappy? Close enough. Close enough indeed. The king, greatly pleased, carried the ring to the princess and said, "Now that I have your ring, will you become my wife?" "I will be your wife," replied the princess, "if you find my earring that I lost in the forest as I was journeying with Benito." Again the king sent for Benito, and this time he commanded him find the earring. The boy was very weary from his long journeys, but with no complaint he started out once more. Along the road through the thick forest he searched carefully, but with no reward. At last, tired and discouraged, he sat down under a tree to rest. Suddenly there appeared before him a mouse of great size, and he was surprised to find that it was the king of mice. "Why are you sad?" said the king mouse. "Because," answered the boy, "I cannot find an earring which the princess lost as we were going through the forest together." "I will help you," said the mouse, and he summoned all his subjects. When they assembled, it was found that one little mouse was missing, and the king sent the others to look for him. In a small hole among the bamboo trees they found him, and he begged to be left alone, for, he said, he was so full that he could not walk. Nevertheless, they pulled him along to their master, who, upon finding that there was something hard inside the mouse, ordered him cut open, and inside they found the missing earring. So basically this princess really needs to stop littering. Hello, Licorice, welcome. Yay, got the book stream. Welcome, welcome. I don't know. The king isn't dealing with the trials. He's sending his underling to do so. It's just rude. Benito at once forgot his weariness, and after expressing his great thanks to the king mouse, he hastened to the palace with the prize. The king eagerly seized the earring and presented it to the princess, again asking her to be his wife. "Oh, my king," replied the princess, "I have one more request to make. Only grant it, and I will be your wife forever." The king, believing that now, with the aid of Benito, he could grant anything, inquired what it was she wished, and she replied, "Get me some water from heaven, and some of the lower world, and I shall ask nothing more." Well, that's a small ask, hey? Can you get me some god water, please? Thanks, bro. Once more, the king called Benito and sent him on the hardest errand of all. The boy went out, not knowing which way to turn, and while he was in a deep study, his weary feet led him to the forest. Suddenly he thought of the bird who had promised to help him, and he called, "Sparrowhawk!" There was a rustle of wings, and the bird swooped down. He told it of his troubles and said, "I will get water for you." "Thanks, Burb. You're a bro." Call the Inquisition and investigate this one. It does kind of sound like heresy. I'll give you that. Can't just wait until it rains. No, it's not of heaven when it rains. It's not good enough. She can only have the best, this woman. The bestest of the best. It's starting to sound like she doesn't really want to marry this guy. But would she not? I mean, is tests not a part of the courting rituals? It's not. This is bad, but it's not. Angel piss doesn't count as water from heaven, duh. Yes. Then Benito made 2 light cups of bamboo, which he fastened to the bird's legs, and it flew away. All day the boy waited in the forest. Just as night was coming on, the bird returned with both cups full. The one on his right foot, he told Benito, was from heaven, and the one on his left was from the lower world. The boy unfastened the cups, and then, as he was thanking the bird, he noticed that the journey had been too much for it, and it was dying. Filled with sorrow for his winged friend, he waited and carefully buried it. And then he hastened to the palace with the precious water. When the princess saw that her wish had been fulfilled, she asked the king to cut her in 2 and pour over her the water from heaven. The king was not able to do this, so she cut herself, and then, as he poured the water over her, he beheld her growing into the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Eager to become handsome himself, the king then begged her to pour over him the water of the other cup. He cut himself, and she did as he requested, but immediately there arose a creature most ugly and horrible to look upon, which soon vanished out of sight. Then the princess called Benito and told him that because he had been so faithful to his master and so kind to her, she chose him for her husband. That's one way to get rid of him. Instant karma for the kid. Moral of the story, label your drinks. Yeah. They were married amid great festivities and became king and queen of that broad and fertile land. During all the great rejoicing, however, Benito never forgot his parents. One of the finest portions of the kingdom he gave to them, and from that time they all lived in great happiness. Damn! The princess is hardcore. She knew she could magically bring herself back to life. Misinformation and murder. It's not murder if you didn't do it, right? She didn't do anything. She just, demonstrated something, and, he did it himself. I see no murder here. No murder. Only stupidity. The Adventures of Juan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Juan. As a lawyer, I'd say she's responsible as she influences her actions. As an ardent supporter of women's rights and women's wrongs, I say She did good. Assisted suicide, maybe. I mean, yeah, I guess she purposely did it so that he would use the cup of water that wouldn't work. She's kinda like poisoning him. But if I was on the jury, I'd say not guilty. The floating horse named Juan? Maybe. Your Honor, he had it coming. He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I tell you, you would have done the same. Your Honor, I wasn't even there. Your Honor, I wasn't there, but I fully believe that he had it coming and he does it. Does your degree cover magic law? The magical law of fuck you. You deserve to die. Hello, Red Roach. Welcome. Let's read the adventures of Juan. Juan was always getting into trouble. He was a lazy boy, and more than that, he did not have good sense. When he tried to do things, he made such dreadful mistakes that he might better not have tried. You're studying law. Well, you should take an extra degree in magic law. It's just logic and morality, really. But it's written down. Your Honor, my client pleads oopsie daisies. Oopsie daisies, I didn't realize what water I was using. Relatable Juan. When he tried to do things, he made such dreadful mistakes that he might better not have tried. His family grew very impatient with him, scolding and beating him whenever he did anything wrong. One day, his mother, who was almost discouraged with him, gave him a bolo. What's a bolo? A bolo is a long knife. And sent him to the forest, for she thought he could at least cut firewood. Juan walked leisurely along, contemplating some means of escape. At last he came to a tree that seemed easy to cut, and then he drew his long knife and prepared to work. Now it happens that this was a magic tree, and it said to Juan, "If you do not cut me, I will give you a goat that shakes silver from its whiskers." Really, Mr. Tree? This pleased Juan wonderfully, both because he was curious to see the goat, and because he would not have to chop the wood. He agreed at once to spare the tree, whereupon the bark separated and a goat stepped out. Juan commanded it to shake its whiskers, and when the money began to drop, he was so delighted that he took the animal and started home to show his treasure to his mother. On the way, he met a friend who was more cunning than Juan. And when he heard of the boy's rich goat, he decided to rob him, knowing Juan's fondness for tuba, which I think is a kind of food, a fermented juice of the coconut. He persuaded him to drink, and while he was drunk, the friend substituted another goat for the magic one. As soon as he was not a very good friend, then, is it? I don't think I'd call this a friend. As soon as he was sober again, Juan hastened home with the goat, and told his people of the wonderful tree, but when he commanded the animal to shake its whiskers, no money fell out. The family, believing it to be another of Juan's tricks, beat and scolded the poor boy. Poor Juan. Hello, paper. Welcome. Absolute sabotage. He went back to the tree and threatened to cut it down for lying to him, but the tree said, "Do not cut me down, and I will give you a net, which you may cast on dry ground or even in the treetops, and it will return full of fish." So Juan spared the tree and started home with his precious net. But on the way he met the same friend, who again persuaded him to drink tuber. While he was drunk, the friend replaced the magic net with a common one, so that when Juan reached home and tried to show his power, he was again subject of ridicule. Once more Juan went to his tree, this time determined to cut it down. But the offer of a magic pot, always full of rice and spoons, which provided whatever he wished to eat with his rice, dissuaded him, and he started home happier than ever. Before reaching home, however, he met with the same fate as before, and his folks, who were becoming tired of his pranks, beat him harder than ever. Thoroughly angered, Juan sought the tree a fourth time, and was on the point of cutting it down when once more it arrested his attention. After some discussion, he consented to accept a stick, to which he had only to say, "Boombai boomba," and it would beat and kill anything he wished. When he met his friend on his trip, he was asked what he had, and he replied, "Oh, this is a stick. It is only a stick, but if you say Boombai boomba, it will beat you to death." And at the sound of the magic words, the stick leapt from his hands and began beating his friend until he cried, "Oh, stop it, and I will give you back everything I stole from you." Juan ordered the stick to stop, and then he compelled the man to lead the goat and to carry the net and the jar and spoons to his home. Thank you, tree, for the beating stick. Roomba's murderous ancestor, the Boomba. Juan tries to cut tree, so you have chosen death. The tree given what the tree can give him, I wouldn't be surprised if the tree can kill him. There Juan commanded the goat, and it shook its whiskers until his mother and brothers had all the silver they could carry. Then they ate from the magic jar and spoons until they were full, and this time Juan was not scolded. After they had finished, Juan said, "You have beaten me and scolded me all my life, and now you are glad to accept my good things? I am going to show you something else. Boombai boomba!" Immediately the stick leapt out and leaped and beat them all until they begged for mercy and promised that Juan should ever after be head of the house. From that time Juan was rich and powerful, but he never went anywhere without his stick. One night, when some thieves came to his house, he would have been robbed and killed had it not been for the magic words "Boombai boomba," which caused the death of all the robbers. Some time after this, he married a beautiful princess, and because of the kindness of the magic tree, they always lived happily. Da-da-da! Happy ending, question mark. Moral, hug trees, they may give you presents. Yeah. He probably had to chop down some other trees. There's no way he didn't. Because they needed fire, I suppose. But moral of the story, the best gift isn't wealth or infinite food, but the power of incredible violence. Yes, violence is not the answer. It is the question. The answer is yes. Violence is, in fact, the way to go. For Juan! Oh, it's another Juan! I guess this is because this is the Christianized stuff, and it's been Christianized by the Spaniards, so it's not too surprising that we have a lot of stories relating around a man called Juan. But Juan gathers guavas! But he doesn't until I finish my tea, because I need to. It's getting cold. Okay. Juan gathers guavas. One day, Juan's father sent him to get some ripe guavas, for a number of the neighbourhoods had come in and he wanted to give them something to eat. Hello, maiden! Drinking water, drinking tea! But now my tea is all gone. That was all the tea I had. Well, no, I have more tea, but I'd have to make the said tea. Juan went to the guava bushes and ate all the fruit he could hold. And then he decided to play a joke on his father's guests. Instead of giving them a feast of guavas, a wasp's nest hung nearby. You like tea too? Tea's the best. We love tea. I love tea. Tea is great. You have impeccable taste, Wallace. With some difficulty, he succeeded in taking it down and putting it into a tight basket that he had brought for the fruit. He hastened home and gave the basket to his father, and then he left the room where the guests were seated. He closed the door and fastened. Wow! Juan went from a tree hugger to throwing a wasp's nest into a busy room. As soon as Juan's father opened the basket, the wasps flew over the room, and when the people found the door locked, they fought to get out of the windows. After a while, Juan opened the door, and when he saw the swollen faces of the people, he cried. Wow. Wow. Hi, I'm Juan. Welcome to Filipino Jackass. Today we're pranking my dad and all his house guests. Yeah, honestly, if this is like prequel Juan, then yeah, I understand it. Oh wow, that was all. What fine, rich guavas you must have had. They have made you all so fat. Ha 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 ha. Wow, you're an ass. That was a bad Juan. That was like dark timeline Juan. We got the best timeline Juan originally, but now bad timeline Juan has done that. The sun and the moon. Once upon a time, the sun and the moon were married, and they had many children who were the stars. The sun was very fond of his children, but whenever he tried to embrace any of them, he was so hot that he burned them up. This made the moon so angry that finally she forbade him to touch them again, and he was greatly grieved. One day the moon went down to the spring to do some washing, and when she left, she told the sun that he must not touch any of their children in her absence. Dear husband, do not murder any of our children while I'm gone. When she returned, however, she found that he had disobeyed her, and several of the children had perished. Husband, you have failed. She was very angry, and picked up a banana tree. She just pulled a banana tree out of the ground and just to strike him, whereupon he threw sand in her face, and to this day you can see dark marks on the face of the moon. Then the sun started to chase her, and they have been going ever since. Sometimes he gets so near that he almost catches her, but she escapes, and by she's far ahead again. This is very similar to the other ones. This is like a combination of some of the other sun and moon stories that we've seen before. The pocket sand is back! The pocket sand of the moon, indeed. So when you look up at the moon, know that its beautiful surface is marred by pocket sand. Last time the sun was jealous and threw sand. Yeah! So we know the pocket sand must be true. If there's so many stories about the moon having dark marks because of pocket sand, you know it must be true by this point. Yeah, they do have they have a situationship, that much is for sure. The first monkey. The very first monkey. I wonder what they're like. Let's find out. You must fear the divine pocket sand. Many years ago, at the foot of a forest-covered hill was a small town, and just above the town, on the hillside, was a little house in which lived an old woman and her grandson. The old woman, who was very industrious, earned their living by removing the seeds from cotton, and she always had near at hand a basket in which were cotton and a long stick that she used for a spindle. The boy was lazy and would not do anything to help his grandmother, but every day went down to town and gambled. Good-for-nothing grandson! One day, when he had been losing money, the boy went home and was cross because his supper was not ready. "I am hurrying to get these seeds out of this cotton," said the grandmother, "and as soon as I sell it, I will buy us some food." At this the boy fell into a rage, and he picked up some coconut shells and threw them at his grandmother. Then she became angry and began to whip him with her spindle. Deserved it by the sounds of it. When suddenly he was changed into an ugly animal, and the cotton, which became hair, covered his body, while the stick itself became his tail. As soon as the boy found that he had become an ugly creature, he ran down into the town and began whipping his companions, the gamblers, with his tail, and immediately they were turned into animals like himself. Uh-oh, it's the monkey zombie curse. Then the people would no longer have them in the town, but drove them out. They went to the forest where they lived in the trees, and ever since have been known as monkeys. Monkeys are good-for-nothing gamblers, apparently. But he just bought them a mirror. It's like, oh yeah, we've been monkeys the whole time. Like I said, it reminds me of that comic book I was looking at, where is a zombie. Was it a comic book or is it like an anime that's coming out? I can't remember. Manga. Where it's a zombie apocalypse, but you get turned into a cat. I wonder what apes are then. I don't know. If they're gamblers, are apes maybe drunkards? I'm thinking of like a similar but like different sin that maybe apes could be a... Maybe apes are like bullies, people who throw their weight around kind of thing, because apes are very strong. They're big boys. So maybe they're people who beat people up. The virtue of the coconut. One day, a man took his blowgun and his dog and went to the forest to hunt. As he was making his way through the thick woods, he chanced upon a young coconut tree growing in the ground. It was the first tree of this kind that he had ever seen, and it seemed so peculiar to him that he stopped to look at it. When he had gone some distance farther, his attention was attracted by a noisy bird in a tree, and he shot it with his blowgun. By and by he took aim at a large monkey, which mocked him from another treetop, and that too fell dead at his feet. Then he heard his dog barking furiously in the distant bushes, and hastening to it, he found it biting a wild pig. After a hard struggle, he killed the pig, and then, feeling satisfied with his success, he took the 3 animals on his back and returned to the little plant. "I have decided to take you home with me, little plant," he said, "for I like you, and you may be of some use to me." He dug up the plant very carefully and started home, but he had not gone far when he noticed that the leaves had begun to wilt. He did not know what to do, since he had no water. Finally, in despair, he cut the throat of the bird and sprinkled the blood on the coconut. No sooner had he done this than the plant began to revive, and he continued his journey. Before he had gone far, however, the leaves again began to wilt, and this time he revived it with the blood of the monkey. Then he hastened on, but a third time the leaves wilted, and he was compelled to stop and revive it with the blood of the pig. This was his last animal, so he made all haste possible to reach home before his plant died. The coconut began to wilt again before he reached his house, but when he planted it in the ground it quickly revived and grew into a tall tree. This hunter was the first man to take the liquor called tuber from the coconut tree, and he and his friends began to drink it. After they had become very fond of it, the hunter said to his friends, "The coconut tree is like the 3 animals whose blood gave it life when it would have died. The man who drinks 3 or 4 cups of tuber becomes like the noisy bird I shot with my blowgun. One who drinks more than 3 cups or 4 becomes like the big monkey who acts silly, and one who becomes drunk like the pig that sleeps even in a mud hole." So that's why we act that way when we get drunk, because the alcohol thing's got blood from the animals, and we act like the animals when drunk. That's funny. Shot the gambler from the previous story. Yes. And then the gambler gave way to drunks. That makes sense. Oh Lord, that sounds like a word. Mansemandic? Mansemandic. Mansemandic. And silly me is just, I know, right? You should be using blood of the animals. Sacrifice to your plants. Blood sacrifices to the plants. I don't know how vegans would feel about that. We're helping the plants, but we're also killing the animals. Hold on, I'm gonna get some snake blood. I'm just gonna wiggle on the floor like a goober. Yeah! Blood for the blood bear. Blood for the blood bear. Blood for the blood gut. Blood for the blood plants. Blood for the blood. Blood for the alcohol plants. Mansemanding. Mansemandig. It's not ing. That's different. There's no N. Mansemandig. One day, a man said to his wife, "My wife, we are getting very poor, and I must go into business to earn some money." "That's a good idea," replied his wife. "How much capital have you?" "I have 25 centavos. Centavos, for it is Spanish, so centavos," answered the man, "and I am going to buy rice and carry it to the mines, for I have heard that it brings a good price there." So he took his 25 centavos and bought a half caravan of rice, which he carried on his shoulder to the mine. Arriving there, he told the people how he had rice for sale, and they asked eagerly how much he wanted it for. "Why, have you forgotten the regular price of rice?" he asked the man. "It's 25 centavos. They at once bought the rice, and the man was very glad, because he would not have to carry it any longer. He put the money in his belt and asked if they would like to buy any more. "Yes," they said, "we will buy as many caravans as you will bring." When the man reached home, his wife asked if he had been successful. "Oh, my wife," he answered, "it is a very good business. I could not take the rice off my shoulder before people came to buy it." "Well, that's good," said the wife. "We shall become very rich." The next morning the man bought half a caravan of rice, the same as before, and carried it to the mine, where they asked how much it would be. This story is about the birth of capitalism, maybe. This story is about failed capitalism so far. It's the same as before. 25 centavos. He received the money and went home. "How is business today?" asked his wife. "Oh, it is the same as before," he said. "I could not take the rice off my shoulder before they came for it." And so he went on with his business for a year, each day buying half a caravan of rice and selling it for the price he had paid for it. Then one day his wife said they would balance accounts, and she spread a mat on the floor and sat down on one side of it, telling her husband to sit on the opposite. When she asked him for the money he had made during the year, he asked, "What money?" "Why, give me the money you have received," answered his wife, "and then we can see how much you have made." "Oh, here it is," said the man, and he took the 25 centavos out of his belt and handed it to her. "Is that all you have received this year?" cried his wife angrily. Haven't you said that rice brought at a good price at the mines?" "That is all," he replied. "How much did you pay for the rice?" 25 centavos. "How much did you receive it for?" 25 centavos. "Oh, my husband!" cried his wife. "How can you make any gain if you sell it for just what you paid for it?" The man leaned his head against the wall and thought. Ever since then, he has been called mansamanding, a man who leans back and thinks. Then his wife said, "Give me the 25 centavos and I will make some money." Bitch. Not a good businessman, no. But behind every good businessman is a wife. So he handed it to her, and she said, "Now, go to the field where the people are gathering hemp, and buy 25 centavos worth for me, and I will weave it into cloth." When Mansamanding returned with the hemp, she spread it in the sun, and as soon as it was dry, she tied it into a long thread and put it on the loom to weave. Night and day she worked on her cloth, and when it was finished, she had 8 vars. This she sold for 12.5 centavos a vara, and with this money she bought more hemp. She continued weaving and selling her cloth, and her work was so good that the people were glad to buy it from her. At the end of a year, she again spread the mat on the floor and took her place on one side of it, while her husband sat on the opposite side. She then poured the money out of the blanket in which she kept it upon the mat. She held aside her capital, which was 25 centavos. When she counted the remainder, she found that she had 300 pesos. Mansamanding was greatly ashamed when he remembered that he had not made cent when he leaned his head against the wall, and although after a while the woman pitied him, she gave him the money and told him to buy carabao. He was able to buy 10 carabao. Carabao. If I've been saying that wrong the entire time. With these he ploughed his fields. By raising good crops, they were able to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. Moral of the story, give your money to women and they'll do more than you will. Yes, correct. Moral of the story, caribou. Like the water buffalo, caribou. Is that how it is? Caribou? The water buffalo. That's what I mean. Bought 10 caribou, with which he was able to earn 10 caribou's worth of centavos. Yes, because that's how he does business. Business. Caribou. It's a cute name for a cute animal. Would you like to know why dogs wag their tails? I think it's a very poignant question. I would like to know too. We're going to finish this book today, just so you know, because I don't have another book planned. We're going to need to look and find a book during the stream. It's okay. We can either go for another fiction one or another folklore one. We'll figure it out when we get there. But first we're going to find out why dogs wag their tails. A rich man in a certain town once owned a dog and a cat, both of which were very useful to him. The dog had served his master for many years, and had become so old that he had lost his teeth and wasn't able to fight any more. But he was a good guide and companion to the cat, who was strong and cunning. The master had a daughter who was attending school at a convent some distance from home, and very often he sent the dog and the cat with presents to the girl. One day he called the faithful animals and bade them carry a magic ring to his daughter. "You are strong and brave," he said to the cat. "You may carry the ring, but you must be careful not to drop it." And to the dog he said, "You must accompany the cat to guide her and keep her from harm." They promised to do their best and started out. All went well until they came to a river, as there was neither a bridge nor boat. There was no way to cross but swim. "Let me take the magic ring," said the dog as they were about to plunge into the water. "Oh no," replied the cat, "the master gave it to me to carry." "But you cannot swim well," argued the dog. "I am strong and can take good care of it." But the cat refused to give up the ring until finally the dog threatened to kill her. And then she reluctantly gave it to him. The river was wide and the water was swift that they grew very tired, and just before they reached the opposite bank the dog dropped the ring. They searched carefully but could not find it anywhere, and after a while they turned back to tell their master of the sad loss. Just before reaching the house, however, the dog was so overcome with fear that he turned and ran away, and was never seen again. The cat went on alone, and when the master saw her coming, he called out to know why she had returned so soon, and what had become of her companion. The poor cat was frightened, but as well as she could, she explained how the ring had been lost, and how the dog had run away. Upon hearing her story, the master was very angry and commanded that all his people should search for the dog, and that it should be punished by having its tail cut off. Oh, that's rude. The dog tried. He tried his best. He also ordered that all dogs in the world should join in the search, and ever since, when one dog meets another, he says, "Are you the old dog that lost the magic ring? If so, your tail must be cut off." Then immediately each shows its teeth and wags his tail to prove that he is not the guilty one. Since then, too, cats have been afraid of water and will not swim across a river if they can avoid it. There you go! That's why dogs wag their tails, because they don't want to be that one guilty dog who lost the magic ring. And cats don't like water. So many mysteries of the universe. My dog wags his tail because he gets treats. That's true. Obviously, I've never met a jaguar. It's fine. It was a small cat. A jaguar was not guilty of this. How many stories we got left? The hawk and the hen, the spider and the fly, the battle of the crabs. I'm looking forward to the battle of the crabs, but I might have too high expectations. And that's it. That's all we got. We got 3 stories left. 3. The hawk. Some cats love water. Yes. Outliers. Those would be the ones very confident to have the magic ring. The hawk and the hen. A hawk, flying about the sky, one day decided that he would like to marry a hen whom he often saw on earth. He flew down and searched until he found her, and then asked her to become his wife. She at once gave her consent on the condition that he would wait until she could grow wings like his, so that she might fly high. The hawk agreed to this and flew away, after giving her a ring as an engagement present and telling her to take good care of it. The hen was very proud of the ring and placed it around her neck. The next day, however, she met the cock, who looked at her in astonishment and said, "Where did you get that ring? Do you not know that you promised to be my wife? You must not wear the ring of anyone else. Throw it away." And the hen threw away the beautiful ring. Not long after this, the hawk came down, bringing beautiful feathers to dress the hen. When she saw him coming, she was frightened and ran to hide behind the door, but the hawk called to her to come and see the beautiful dress he had brought her. The hen came out, and the hawk at once saw that the ring was gone. "Where is the ring I gave you? Why do you not wear it?" The hen was frightened and ashamed to tell the truth, so she answered, "Oh, sir, yesterday I was walking in the garden. I met a large snake, and he frightened me so that I ran as fast as I could to the house. Then I missed the ring, and I searched everywhere, but could not find it." The hawk looked sharply at the hen, and he knew that she was deceiving him. Then he said to her, "I did not believe that you would behave so badly. When you have found the ring, I will come down again and make you my wife. But as punishment for breaking your promise, you must always scratch the ground to look for the ring, and every chicken of yours that I find, I shall snatch away." Then he flew away, and ever since all the hens throughout the world have been scratching to find the hawk's ring. There we go! Another mystery solved! You have to go, Licorice. Well, thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a good day. If it is a big day, I hope it is a good day. So many mysteries of the world solved today. The spider and the fly. This can't be good. Mr. Spider, what was it? Anyone else? Magnus Archives. Huh? A guess for Mr. Spider! That's it! Is this going to be Filipino, a guess for Mr. Spider? Who knows? The Spider and the Fly. Mr. Spider wanted to marry Miss Fly. Many times he told her of his love and begged her to become his wife, but she always refused, for she did not like him. One day, when she saw Mr. Spider coming again, Miss Fly closed all the doors and the windows of her house and made ready a boiling pot of water. Then she waited, and when Mr. Spider called, begging her to allow him to enter, she answered by throwing boiling water at him. This made Mr. Spider very angry, and he cried, "I will never forgive you for this, but I and my descendants will always despise you. We will never give you any peace." Mr. Spider kept his word, and even today one can see the hatred of the spider for the fly. So what you're telling me is spiders are stalkers, wouldn't leave flies alone, and decided to make it a blood feud. Sounds like how a stalker would react. Yeah. Mr. Spider is a stalker. The Battle of the Crabs. Crab, 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 crab. Crab with a knife? I hope it's a crab with a knife. One day, the land crabs had a meeting, and one of them said, "What shall we do with the waves? They sing so loudly all the time, and we cannot possibly sleep." "Well," answered one of the oldest of the crabs, "I think we should make war on them." The others agreed to this, and it was decided that the next day all the male crabs should get ready to fight the waves. they started for the sea, as agreed, when they met a shrimp. "Where are you going, my friends?" asked the shrimp. "We are going to fight the waves," answered the crabs, "for they make so much noise at night that we cannot sleep." "I do not think you will succeed," said the shrimp, "for the waves are very strong and your legs are so weak that even your bodies bend almost to the ground when you walk." Wherewith he laughed loudly. "Oh, ha, ha!" This made the crabs very angry, and they pinched the shrimp until he promised to help them with the battle. They all went to the shore, but the crabs noticed that the eyes of the shrimp were set unlike their own. So they thought his must be wrong, and they laughed at him and said, "Friend shrimp, your face is turned the wrong way. What weapon have you to fight with the waves?" "My weapon is the spear on my head," replied the shrimp. And just then he saw a big wave coming and ran away. The crabs did not see it, however, for they were looking towards the shore, and they were covered with water and drowned. By and by the wives of the crabs became worried because their husbands did not return, and they went down to the shore to see if they could help in the battle. No sooner had they reached the water, however, than the waves rushed over them and killed them. Some time after this, thousands of little crabs appeared near the shore, and the shrimp often visited them and told them of the sad fate of their parents. Even today, these little crabs can be seen on the shore, continually running back and forth. They seem to rush down to fight the waves, and then, as their courage fails, they run back to the land where their forefathers lived. And they neither live on dry land, as their ancestors did, nor in the sea where the other crabs are, but on the beach where the waves wash over them at high tide and try to dash them to pieces. The failed war of the crabs! Are crabs the walk on the seafloor traitors decided with the tide? They must be. Underwater crabs are traitors. Traitors to the cause! But that is all. I think that's basically the whole book. Then we have like a load of pronunciations, which I didn't realize there was a pronunciation guide in here. That would have helped me a while ago, but I guess not. And then there's my stuff that I can do it. I can use this. Because copyright's the best. End of the book, and here's a lot of gumph. So much gumph. Da 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 da! Where's my 100 books? 100 books, Filipino folk tales. Something's been bothering me since we started reading this. When we type Filipino folk tales, should I be typing it with a PH or with an F? Obviously, this is an older book, so it's definitely called Philippine Folk Tales book by Mabel Cook Cole, standalone, 2025. We did learn. I learned a lot about the Philippines. I knew next to nothing, and just having some little like tidbits from some of you guys in the chat has been fascinating, to be honest. So I'm really glad we read this. But like I said, we may need to have a very interesting culture, indeed. But these are very old stories. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up that. We're going to look at Project Gutenberg together, because we've got like 45 minutes. I'm just going to get that up now. That's $100. Don't use that. Let's paint. What is this? Oh yeah. I have so much random stuff. What? Oh yeah, my reverse Uno card. I remember that. Educational curriculum. Wee. I want to do like some edited videos of just like specifically the stories and see if I can edit them down. That one. There we go. Right, let's open this up a little bit. Let's have a look what we can read next. We have a whole Project Gutenberg to look at. You subscribed? Yes, and thank you so much. Yeah, we got some subs, bro. Da 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 da. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What are we gonna read? So much. I feel like this should be in front of me. Or it could be behind so I can point at stuff. I could be like, hey, look at this. That's sad. That is a little bit sad that we've collectively read more than your students, that much is for sure. I would like to, because like I said, we could read so much. I would like to... What's in the frequently downloaded? So, Moby Dick, but Moby Dick's a bit chunky in it, from what I've heard. We've read Frankenstein. We've read Pride and Prejudice. There's Czech folk tales. I don't know if they're any good. I'll admit, in my free time, I tend to listen to audiobooks more than I read. But these streams are kind of trying to make up for a lot of the reading I didn't do. I like writing, which theoretically would come with the hobby of reading, but it kind of didn't. And I'd like to fix that a little bit. So what else have we got? Moby Dick, Frankenstein we read. So we could read some Shakespeare. I ain't done some Shakespeare for a wee while. I think Shakespeare might be fun. Alice in Wonderland's a classic we haven't done. We're not doing the complete works of Shakespeare though. That much is not. Lord Dunsky is definitely on the list. I have some of your recommendations written down here actually. I have a lot of random notes though, so I need to figure out. Icebed video game maker. I don't know what that means. Monolingual? What? Was that a game you guys suggested? I think so. Anyway. A Picture of Dorian Gray? Yeah, that's quite short as well. I've seen that one physically. Old English Insults is still something we need to do. Hellscreen was Ryoshu's book. That's a short one, isn't it? Google. I have so many notes. That's a crochet note. This is a lot of notes that we took during something else. Hello, and welcome. Beowulf. Beowulf's a good shout. We should make a list on here. So let's make a to-read list that lives on stream. To read. Okay, so ones I've got. To read list. Let's get a bit of a background there so we can actually see what we do. Yeah, it's humongous. Let's make that a bit smaller first. There we go. There we go. There we go. To read. So we got Beowulf. Beowulf. Let's have a look at what you've done. So anything by Lord Dunsany. That's an S. Dunsany. The thing in the woods is a werewolf. Interesting. Wonder if that has one. The thing in the woods. The thing in the woods is a werewolf. I thought that might be too specific. Oh yeah, the picture of Dorian Gray. The picture of Dorian Gray. The Velveteen Rabbit. Velveteen Rabbit. By the same writer. So if we go, can I search by author? Marjorie Williams Binkle. So we've only got the Velveteen Rabbit in here by the looks of it, which is a shame. R-U-R. What's R-U-R? Is Crime and Punishment really chunky? Because I kind of want to read Crime and Punishment because of Roger now. But it's probably so chunky, isn't it? Was it literally right there? Was I being an idiot? RUR is Rossum's Universal Robots. Oh. RUR. The Odyssey. The Odyssey is always a classic. Oh, it's there. First result. Oh, was it that one? Okay, I'm going to put RUR on the list. I like the sound of that. A dramatic play written in the early 20th century. This work is recognised for its exploration of themes surrounding artificial intelligence and the consequences of creating life devoid of soul and feeling. The story revolves around the factory of Rossum's Universal Robots, where artificial beings called robots are manufactured to perform labour, leading to profound societal ethical dilemmas. Opening the play introduces us to, I feel like it's gonna just, but yeah, that feels a little bit on brand right now, shall we say? RUS. Is it this guy who does more of these? RUR. RUR. Yeah, that one's It's where the word robot comes from? That's fascinating. The Thing in the Woods by Harper Williams. It literally doesn't even say. We got so many choices. There's so many books in the world to read. I don't know how does one make decisions? I really like the idea of all you are, though. I think that sounds very fascinating. Boys make at-home things. I'm curious what else is on here. The Room with a View. That one I've heard about. The Room with a View. By E.M. Foster is a novel written during the 20th century which explores themes of social conventions and personal freedom. Set primarily in Italy and England, the narrative follows the journey of Lucy Honeychurch, a woman navigating her feelings about love, societal expectations, and her own desires against the backdrop of her experiences abroad. I've heard much about that one. What else have we got? Dracula, obviously. History of Tom Jones, A Founding by Henry Fielding. A Doll's House. Ooh, is it spooky? A spooky doll's house? A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. It's a 3-act play written during the 19th century. The story revolves around Nora Hemler and her seemingly perfect marriage to Torvald Helmer, as well as themes of gender roles, deception, and struggle for identity within the constraints of societal expectations. Is that not the way with most things? No, it's a depressing dollhouse. That's sad. I like creepy stuff. Yeah, we got Crime and Punishment I'm curious about. But like I said, I've heard it's a chonker. I wish it said how long these were. Roger, Rodion. Rodion the actual man and not the wine aunt, which would make me a little sad. I'm just gonna be picturing the wine aunt the whole time. Bram Stoker, The Importance of Being Earnest, a trivial comedy for serious people by Oscar Wilde. Length, very. I should know, because, like, I'm thinking about when I go into, like, bookshops and I see the classic book section, I'd go look at that now, because I'm like, how big are these books and should I read them on stream? So Beowulf is, like, a poem. It's not going to be too bad. Metamorphosis. I've heard bad things about that one. Ulysses. Sherlock Holmes. We should read some more Sherlock at some point. Grimm Fairy Tales is always a classic. War and Peace. And now if I wanted a really big book, Don Quixote. We need to read Don Quixote at some point. It's very important. Don Quixote. Yes. Don Quixote. Yeah. That one's not too bad, as far as I know. Public domain in the US of A. Leviathan. Tom Sawyer. White Knights and Other Stories. The government of the Ottoman Empire in the time of Suleiman the Magnificent. That's a big one. The Divine Comedy. Probably not so divine and not so comedic. The Strike of Sex. Oh my. London Parks and Gardens. What do we like to know about London Parks and Gardens? Heart of Darkness. Scarlet Letter. Is there like a recently added category? That would be fun. A Modest Proposal. Oh my. A Prophet, The Prophet, Wuthering Heights, yay! The King in Yellow. I don't think we should be reading that. I don't want to curse you all with that, so we probably no. We should not be reading The King in Yellow. I've heard it is somewhat cursed. Oliver Twist. Oh, we could read Oliver Twist. Les Mis, the OG. Treasure Island, we read. We've got that one. Study in Scarlet. Oh, Parks and Gardens. I thought you said Pubs and Gardens. Left me wondering. Pubs and Gardens is a combination topic in the UK because pubs have pub gardens are a thing. The history and decline of the Roman Empire! Because the Roman Empire. We must always think of the... And Carmilla, I would like to read the gay one. Carmilla. I want to read the sapphic one. Top 100 ebooks yesterday. Top 100 authors yesterday. I would really like main categories. Is there like a recently added category? Like, what's the newest books on Gutenberg? Offline categories. I think that was on the first page, wasn't it? The newest. Our latest ebooks. That's what I want. What is the newest things added? Civilization and Ethics. The Philosophy of Civilization Part 2. Madame Bovary in French. The Nightland. Interesting stuff. Ventures of Tom Sawyer. That's not as good as I thought. I thought we'd get like more. Audiobook, computer. You can get computer generated audiobooks. Audiobook human read. There's audiobooks on here? Huh. Interesting. Aesop's Fables, good to know. But yeah, I guess if you want some audiobooks, there's also some audiobooks in here. The Nightland is pretty good. Yeah, I would like to read Carmilla. Want to get a little gay. Anderson! Hans Christian Depressed Man. Speaking of gay, this man who was just so best friends with his bestie that was so best friends, you know. History, American, ancient, I would like to look at ancient history. Iliad, Myths and Legends of Greece. We have that list. Oh, Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. Oh, heck yeah. Hello, Dread Excalibur. We are picking up some books because we kind of finished today's book. And we have like half an hour of the stream left. So we're making a to-read list. And I guess if we put it on the list, I will do like a random roll maybe at the end of the stream. And maybe that'll pick what our next book is. So if you have any recommendations, get them in now. And we will have a look. I would like some ancient Egyptian books would be fun. I like Egyptian myth would be fun to learn about. I know more about Greece and Rome than I do Egypt. But Egypt's probably, I don't know, the third most I know about. I loved Egyptian mythology as a kid. Old Babylonian version of the Epic of Gilgamesh. Never actually read the Epic of Gilgamesh. We should probably do that. How can I be called a mongrel if I don't even know the man I am being mongreled? Yeah, Epic of Gilgamesh. Let's put that on. Why not? Epic of Gilgamesh. Because I don't think it's very long, but it's fine. Greece, Rome. Did I go back? I meant to click next, not previous. Next! First, previous, next! Sumerian hymns. Interesting. And cuneiform texts. From cuneiform texts from the British Museum. Fascinating. Pompeii, it's a life and art. Do you want to learn about Pompeii? That'd be fun. The Iliad, Book of the Dead. How many boards could the Mongols hold if the Mongols' horde got bored? Homer, lots of Homer. public lands and agrarian laws of the Roman Empire. History of art in ancient Egypt. Fascinating. I'm putting Pompeii on the list. Pompeii. Its life and art. Since you mentioned Greek myths, I remember having to do a school report long ago on the Labours of Hercules. I don't recall the book it came from. No worries. There's so many on Greek mythology. But we know, there's so many books on Greek mythology. Everyone knows about Greek mythology. Everyone. Religions, that's why there's so many books on Greek mythology. Like, there's so many. The religious experience of the Roman people. That's so specific. The religions of ancient Egypt and Babylonia. I feel like putting those two together is a bit strange, but sure. Maybe. Is that when we would conflate everything in that part of the world together, though? Because we do have to keep in mind that these books are very old. So they're gonna come up with some weird stuff sometimes. So this was originally done in August 1840, potentially. Like, gotta be careful a little bit on what we pick up and what we don't. The story of Neferkipta and the Demotic Papyrus. Oh, where was that? The Old and New Peru, a story of ancient inheritance and the modern growth and enterprise of a great nation. Fascinating. Was that in the previous law? Where are you? I can't see it. I'm blind. The story. Put it into the search bar. Okay. The story of Neferkepta. If I could just do this much. Ahahaha! From Gilbert Murray. The story of Neferkepta and the Demotic Papyrus by Gilbert Murray is a verse retelling based on an ancient Egyptian tale, likely composed in the 20th century. This work draws from a Demotic Papyrus that dates back to around 100 BC. It presents a blend of historical narrative and mystical elements, focusing on the themes of love, death, and the pursuit of forbidden knowledge through its portrayal of the titular character, Neferkepta. That's interesting. Neferkepta. We'll just put it on like that. Is the list getting big? The list is getting big again. We make the list small again. There we go. Main categories. Let's have a look at some more categories. Let's go for no. Old age and the elderly. Do we want to read about the old age and the elderly? Science. Let me get that list of myth books again, and we can have a quick look through there as well. Where's my link? I put a link in the... It was in suggestion box, was the last place I remember looking at that link. Was it? Did I put it in the suggestion box? No, I didn't. I put it in recommended books? Question mark? Book recommendations? Yes, I did. Wonderful. Here. Visit site, please. Hello, on Reddit. Anyway. Why read when we're living? So we've got all of these as well that are potentials that give us links to things. The Age of Fable, Myths and Legends. So what some of the ones you guys recommended from here were Japanese myths and legends. Japan myths and legends. Demonology as well, number 7. Demonology and devil lore. Was a recommendation also. 7, 5, and 28 was also one recommended. So Cherokee lore. Oh, I've been reading Percy Jackson, and it was Cherokee all mentioned in there. Myths of the Cherokee. No, we are not summoning New Luck for the demonology book. We'll never get rid of her. If you ask her back, she's never gonna leave, and I don't want to give up my channel to her. I wonder if they have their own Edouard Rampo. Maybe. The Legend of Moi. I don't have a legend. The Legend of the 5K 10 viewers VTuber. Japanese fairy tales, the heroes, or Greek fairy tales for my children. Russian fairy tales, Irish fairy tales. Irish fairy tales could be fun, because, like, the British Isles, fairies go hard here. Babylonian legends of creation. I think I would like to read that. This is going to be a big list. We should probably leave it. There's fairy mythology. I would love to read about fairy mythology also. We are your children. You're not my children. I do not have children. You guys are definitely not my children. I refuse to be your mother. Go find someone else. I am not mama. I am kawaii VTuber. That's true. I need to post on Reddit more. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12! A D12! Dice. I found a D12 almost instantly. Let me move my mic so you can have dice ASMR. 8. So what one was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pompeii! We're gonna read about Pompeii, guys. It's gonna be great. Let me go get that. Pompeii! Pompeii! Pompeii wins. And the moon hits your eyes like a Pompeii pizza pie. That's amore. There we go. There you go. I was trying to hide it. Pompeii! We do know how the story ends with Pompeii. That's fair. We do get spoilers. We want this version. I gotta save it in my documents and we'll get it up in a minute. And now I need to get it into my little thing, add book. This one. Reddit is really the best place to advertise as a VTuber. I have a lot of people have found me through Reddit, and I appreciate Reddit. Loading the book as we speak. Pompeii! It's life and art. I don't know what this book looks like, so we're going to have a quick look at it ourselves before we jump straight in. I'm hoping Brady gets an ensemble cast to do a live read of a classic story. I would like to do that. I have approached other VTubers to ask to do collab readings before, and I did get one person, but then they stood me up. Yay! So I'm hoping one day I can do that. I just found you randomly on YouTube. We appreciate YouTubers. Ooh, book. I'm tempted at some point to really push myself into the book niche as much as physically possible and do like a month of just reading. And be like, this is my niche. I am a reading. Except for Limbus, because Limbus is very popular and I can't not do it. And I do enjoy it. Just for the record, I'm not just doing it for numbers. I do enjoy it. But I'm tempted to just read, like, a lot. At some point. Reading out loud is a skill that I feel like I have. Transcriber's notes. Obviously, typographical errors have been corrected. Wonderful. Ooh. Get pictures. I love that these come with pictures. Thank you to Francis from the University of Michigan for translating this for us. With numerous illustrations for original drawings and photographs. Heck yeah. All rights reserves, 1899. This was written in 1899. Preface to the first edition. For 25 years, Professor Mao has devoted his life to the study of Pompeii, spending his summers among the ruins and his winters in Rome, working up new material. He holds a unique place among the scholars who have given attention to the Pompeian antiques, and his contributions to the literature of the subject have been numerous in both German and Italian. The present volume, however, is not a translation of one previously issued, but a new work first published in English. The liberty of the publishers have made it possible to secure assistance from the preparation of certain restorations and other drawings, which Professor Mao desired to have made illustrating his interpretation of the ruins. In one respect, there is an essential difference between the remains of Pompeii and those of the large famous cities of antiquity, as Rome or Athens, which have associated with them the familiar names of historical characters. Mars Hill is clothed with human interest, if for no other reason than of its relationship to the work of the Apostle Paul, while the Roman Forum and the Palatine Baron, as they seem today, teem with life as they rise before the mind's eye, the scenes presented in the pages of classical writers. But the Campanian city played an unimportant part in contemporary history. The name of not a single great Pompeian is recorded, and the ruins, deprived of the interest arising from historical associations, must be interpreted with little help from literary sources, and reopened with aggregate rather than individual life. If you tapped a few people and do enjoy voicing it, I think you get a nice ensemble group, but yeah, it's hard to organize it. Pompeii is a sad story. Just imagine having a rough day and instead of getting better, a mountain explodes. Spoilers. Spoilers we all know. A few Pompeians who feature have survived in herms or statues, and whose names are known from the inscriptions seen near to us, such as Caelius Jucundus, and the generous priestess Emanchia, and the characters most commonly associated with the city are those of fiction. Here, in a greater degree than most places, the work of reconstruction involves the handling of countless bits of evidence, which when viewed by themselves often seem too minute to be of any importance. The blending of these into a complete and faithful picture is a task of infinite painstaking, the difficulty of which will be best appreciated by one who has worked in this field. It is at first proposed to place at the end of the book a series of bibliographical notes on the differing chapters, giving reference to the more important treatises and articles dealing with the matters presented. But on fuller consideration, it seems unnecessary thus to add the bulk of the volume. Those who are interested in the study of a particular building or aspect of Pompeian culture will naturally turn to the Pompeian Antiquarium Historia, the reports in the Notizie degli Scavi. The reports and articles by Professor Mal in the Roman Mittelungen of the German Archaeological Institute, the Overbeck Mal Pompeii, the studies by Mal and by Nissen. The commemorative volume issued in 1979 even, under the title Pompei de la Rigione Soretta dal Vesuvio. The catalogues of the paintings by Hellberg and... Thank you for the follow! My Les Flynn. Welcome. The catalogues of the paintings by Hellberg and Soliano, together with Mal's... I can't go good bitty. We gotta try these words. We gotta try them. Geschichte de Decorative one Maleri in Pompeii, H. von Roden Terracotten und Pompeii, and the older illustrated works, as well as the beautiful volume Pompeii ver de Zeron Strong, published in 1897 by Wichstad. The titles of more than 500 books and pamphlets relating to Pompeii are given in by Versteem's Bibliographia di Pompeii, 2nd edition, Naples, 1891. To this list should be added an elaborate work of the Temple of Isis, Idea Isidis Pompeiana, which is soon to appear. Wait, Isis is a Egyptian god, is it not? I know they had like Iris, but did they change? Is Isis also a Roman god? Question mark. The copper plates for their engravings were prepared at the expense of the old Academia Collins, but only the first section of the work was published. The plates, unfortunately, have been preserved without injury, and the publication, at least, had been undertaken by Professor Solgiano. A lot of Egyptian and Greek gods were subsumed into Roman mythology. That makes sense. They all stole gods from each other. They did. Well, it's like when you play... Again, Grand Order is responsible for a lot of my knowledge, but the Babylonian gods there, and like finding out the relationships between like Ishtar and Ereshkigal, and Ereshkigal sounding very much like Hades, which makes sense because that probably was a trend that just went all the way through. Nothing's original, but we do it anyway. it's fun! Professor Mao wishes to make grateful acknowledgement of the obligation to Mercers de Bazani, Cold Away, G. Randani. Wait, I just realised our currently reading is entirely incorrect. We're reading about Pompeii today now. We can't be doing that. People are going to come into the stream and be really confused. And be like, this doesn't sound like Filipino folk tales. Pompeii. Its life and art. By August Mao. Mao. There we go. Perfection. G. Randani and G. Tongnetti for kind assistance in making ready for the engraver the drawings presenting restorations of buildings to the authorities of the German Archaeological Institute for freely granting the use of a number of drawings in its collections, and the photographer Giacomo Borghi of Florence for placing his collection of photographs at the author's disposal and making special prints for the use of the engraver. In addition to the photographs obtained by Borghi, a number were furnished for the volume by the translator, and a few were derived from other sources. Oh, this is nice. We're learning about the people who put this book together. The unsung heroes. The restorations are not fanciful. They were made with the help of careful measurements and computations based upon the existing remains. Occasionally also evidence derived from reliefs and wall paintings was utilised. Uncertain details are generally omitted. It is due to Professor Mao to say that in preparing his manuscript for English readers, I have, with his permission, made some changes in order. The order of presentation has occasionally been altered in several chapters. The German manuscript has been abridged, while in others containing points in regard to which English readers might desire somewhat fuller statement, I have made slight additions. The preparation of the English form of the volume, undertaken for reasons of friendship, has been less a task than a pleasure. Wonderful! I love when we get notes from translators. The last book I was telling you about, The Cat Who Saved Books, had a note from the translator about bits and bobs that he didn't feel he needed to translate. Like the word hikikomori. He didn't translate because he was like, I just added some bits to make sure it was like very obvious what that meant. But there's no good translation we have for it, so he just left the word in there. And like for the cat in the book, it was never referred to as a gender in the original text, so whenever he translated talking about the cat, he always just said the cat rather than using any pronouns for the cat. Things like that. It's always fascinating to hear about how translators approach keeping the book the way it should be, but also making it make sense for the people who's going to read it. I love that. We appreciate localization that keeps things as close to the original author without without making it sound weird to another culture, sort of thing. Translating is a hard job, and we appreciate when it's done well. Preface for the second edition! The author and translator unite in expressing their deep appreciation of the kind reception accorded to the first edition of this book. The second edition has been revised on the spot. Besides minor additions, it has been enlarged by a chapter on the recently discovered temple of Venus Pompeia and a bibliographical appendix prepared in response to requests for various quarters. Among new illustrations in the text are restoration of the temple of Vespasian, and a reproduction of the bronze youth found in 1900s, besides the Alexandria Pantera, and one of the skeleton cups from Boscorel treasure. In plate 1-8 are presented 2 additional paintings from the house of the Veti. The translator is alone responsible for chapter that's, I don't know my Roman numerals well enough, which was prepared for the first edition at Professor Mao's request at a time when he was pressed with other work. For the paragraphs in regard to the treasure of Boscorel, for one half of the references in the bibliographical appendix. Thank you! Here we go! This is a long book, I can tell, because we're still on 1%. Oh my god, we might not get through this whole book. I didn't realize how big it was. And then a list of illustrations. We've only just gotten to 2%. Wow, there's a lot of illustrations. 3%. Oh, there we go. 4% and we're finally into chapter 1. But we will do chapter 1 next week. So we're reading about Pompeii next week. Let me know what you guys think about me almost constantly doing reading streams. Because it's either that or Ace Attorney. I don't know whether to try bury myself in my niche or keep with some variety. You like reading streams? Reading streams seem to do so well. There's 11 likes on here. There was like 3 or 4 on Twitch. We got up to like 10. Ace Attorney is good too, though. I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, it is the same thing, basically. It's not like I play like hardcore games. I still play games where I have to read. Enjoy other things too. Yeah, I'm just, decisions, I guess. I want to see what happens. 12 likes. Someone said, so you heard me say 11 likes and you just wanted to prove me wrong, didn't you? I like reading streams, but overall a bit of variety would still be good. Okay. Good to know. I like to gauge how you guys feel about it. Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. Maybe we could do just more reading streams. Next week, I know this week has been a bit weird with the schedule. I've had a bit of a weird week in general. Next week will be better though, because I have my full work schedule already. So nothing should pop up unexpectedly. Monday streams will also now always be in the evening. It'll always be a bit later in the day. It'll be around this time, sort of time. Because I will be starting to work Monday now, so I can't do it in the day. It's a shame, but you know. Do what you enjoy. You can be niche and still explore other things. Please make... I do enjoy my streams. I do. Don't you worry. I know when I talk like that, it may sound like I'm maybe obsessing too much about the numbers. I'm not. I promise. I do very much enjoy all my streams. My Limbus streams, my reading streams. You guys are very fun to hang out with. I appreciate you coming. I'm just at a bit of a crossroads right now because I realized with the gaming streams, the game dev streams, it was taking me into a niche that I wasn't sure I wanted to be in, but I need to start something new potentially. And I just don't know what that is right now. So we will see. And I only want about 3 things going on my channel at once because that's the best way to balance it. Because I can only guarantee at least 3 streams a week. Thursday and Friday are just if I can. But, yeah, I don't know. Again, I appreciate everyone's feedback on that. It makes it a lot easier to help me make decisions! But for now, I do have to finish this stream for today! So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you everyone in chat. Thank you everyone who lurked. Thank you anyone who watched the VOD. Game Dev is fun too. Game Dev is fun. Game dev's not going to go away forever. I probably will come back to game dev, but we'll find out. Agree with Dread Excalibur. Game dev once in a while. Yeah, I just don't want to be a game dev streamer. If you have not already, I would highly appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you've done that and you followed me on Twitch as well, I would also appreciate it. And you should go on Discord as well. You should follow me on the Discord. And if you've done all of that wonderful stuff, you could support me in other ways. You can support me via YouTube membership, where you can get emotes, exclusive streams, Discord channel, and merch discounts. Like I said, this is a really good month to get YouTube membership or Patreon for the exclusive streams, because I will be giving you 2 this month, because I didn't give you one last month because life. There's Patreon, where you can get short stories, exclusive streams, merch discounts, and free books. There is the Kofi, where there's better rates on the super chats, kind of like Kofi. And also there is emote commission, so if you like my emotes and you would like some for yourself, you can commission me to draw some. And last but not least, it's my merch store, where you can get ebooks, first edition copies of books that I've written, bookmarks, keyrings, no, wait, I took off the keyrings, the necklaces, notebooks, and stickers, and a pillow. And there's also on Etsy a few crochet goods from myself, but on an Etsy called Bryony Rose Crafts. Check out all those wonderful things. Most of them have links in the description. But that is all I have for you. So I'll be back tomorrow evening with something. I don't know what. I will make a decision at some point. But until then, I had fun. I hope you had fun. This has been Bryony Rose Smith. I'm the Finn Library. Goodbye.